Ooh. How's it going, guys? My name's Marty. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I was trying to think of how I could do some quicker content which doesn't really require much editing and things like that there, just stuff that I can sort of throw out there. And one of the easiest things for me to do is just talk about guitars or talk about guitars that I own. And that's what brings me to this video. So I'm in a fortunate position where I have some really cool guitars in my collection, and there's one that always gets commented on. There's people ask questions about it, and I just figured I'd do a video on it because people seem keen to know what the crack is with it. So this is the guitar in question. So this is an Aristides 060 RS. So just a brief history on Aristides. They don't use any wood. They did in the past for fretboards and things like that there, but they are famous for building guitars that aren't, conventional in the slightest. So there's nothing on this made out of wood, despite the fretboard looking like maple. So that's a big unique selling point for the guitars, and with that comes things like they're incredibly resilient to temperature changes and humidity and things like that there. You'd rarely have to adjust the truss rod. It does have one in it, but you'd rarely need to adjust it. Insanely stable guitars, basically. I've not, adjusted the setup in the 6 years I've had this guitar, which is crazy. Mine is an 060 RS. So 060 pertains to it being a 6-string guitar. So they have 7 strings, 8 strings, 9 strings, etc. And you'll see the naming for them often 060, 070, 080. It makes a lot of sense. This one is an 060 RS. So the R stands for raw. So they have a few different series for each silhouette, if you like, for each sort of shape that they produce. Initially, they were just known for their incredible paint jobs. So the raw models were something they introduced a few years ago to cut down build time and also make them a little more affordable. So basically, they found a different finishing process, which was cheaper and faster to do. They still offer the incredible paint jobs. Definitely go and have a look at their Instagram or their website, and you'll see some of the most insane, like car paint shop level finishes, like just everything under the sun. Very, very impressive. But me being a wee bit more pragmatic, I always loved the idea of, simpler, more minimal designs and things like that there. So the Raw series really resonated with me, and the idea that it would be a bit cheaper, a bit faster to build, all that sort of stuff. I was like, yeah, absolutely makes sense. So mine is a Raw series. So if you ever see close-ups of these, they nearly look rough, like an industrial brushed metal, and that's all part of the process. They put these sand lines in them. This is going to be more of a quick thrown together video, but I'll definitely do another one where it shows all the close-ups and things like that there. So this is just a brief sort of overview of this guitar, really. The other thing I should mention is the S alongside the 060 RS relates to being a multi-scale design. So again, this was a newer line that they brought out, but around the time that I was looking at putting a custom order in. I had no interest in doing a multi-scale build until I played one. It didn't necessarily make me hate all my other guitars or anything like that there. It was just a nice change, and this guitar lives in drop C, so it allows me to have slightly thinner strings on it than normal, because you have the longer scale length in the bottom. So just to explain that a little bit, basically the bass strings, if you like, have a slightly longer scale length than the higher strings, and it gives you this sort of slanted look. So some people don't like the look of this, but I actually think it looks super cool. So yeah, that's the reason for that. But basically I played a straight scale one, and I played this one, and I really loved the multi-scale design. I think part of me wanted to get something a little different. So the Raw series was new, the multi-scale was new. So that's why it looks the way it does. Multi-scale is becoming a lot more common nowadays anyway, so chances are a lot of people know about that. I'll maybe just run through the specs quickly on this here and the idea behind it. So I was getting into single pickup guitars in the year leading up to putting this order in, basically. So right away you can tell it's a single humbucker guitar. Some of this is sort of inspired by the likes of Adam D from Killswitch Engage. He has a really cool comparison signature model, which I owned for a short while and did a full cover of it. So you can check that out if you're interested. But yeah, I loved that his guitar had a single pickup, hardtail bridge, a volume knob, and that was it. You know, it limits what can go wrong. But maybe just start at the top, go through the specs though. So basically, there's hip shot hardware all over the guitars. It's quite a common trait for Aristides. They do use some other companies, but hip shot's very common. So we have the grip lock open locking tuners. I think that's what they're called. They're the ones where you can see the exposed gears, but incredible tuners, and actually quite affordable to put on guitars yourself. Like aftermarket wise, they're very, they're not incredibly expensive, but they're incredibly reliable. They make string changes very quick and easy. You just pull the string as tight as you like, lock it off at the screw at the back, tune it to pitch, cut off the remain, and that's it. You don't need to wrap around the post or any of that sort of stuff. The nut, I think, is Graphtec. I can't remember, but it's very well cut as well. Yeah, zero problems there the entire time that I've had this guitar. They use Jescar stainless steel frets, so I'm never going to need to refret this thing. The fretboard, as I mentioned, is not maple, although it looks like it, which is why I chose this color. I've always really liked brighter fretboards. It's actually a material called Richlite, which is becoming more common. I don't know if Gibson use this over all their guitars now, but they switched to Richlite a number of years ago and got a lot of abuse for it. But in my experience, it's great. It's more sustainable. It's more resilient. There's no chance that any of this material is going to move with humidity or temperature changes, that sort of thing. Sound wise, it's been described to sound as snappy as maple and have the tight bottom end of ebony. So to me, that's sort of that's the best of both worlds. But the beauty of Richlite is that it can come in so many different colors and things like that there. So this model is called Bright Richlite, which is to emulate maple. The other option you usually have is Dark Richlite, which looks a lot like ebony. It's pitch black. It looks amazing. I also went for a very clean build in terms of inlay. So you have choices of choosing whatever inlays you want. There's some preset choices which have a range of prices. And then there's the option to go custom, which is a lot more expensive, but you can do some crazy stuff with the guys. I opted to have this cool, very minimalist A. So that is the logo Aristides decided to use for this range of guitar. More so because their normal straight scale guitars have an Aristides branded plate on the headstock, but there's a headstock design change for this model. So they give you the option of putting the logo on the fretboard if you wish, and I really liked it. You had the option of doing it down the 12th fret as well, but I really liked it sort of randomly at the first fret, like I'd seen on a few other builds, so I went for that. It also has the Luminlay glow-in-the-dark side dots, which is becoming more industry standard. It's not really something I need for my bedroom guitar playing, but if you were a gigging musician and dark stages, this would help quite a lot. I can actually see when I turn off the lights in my wee sort of office room here, if the sun's been hitting the side of this guitar, when I darken the whole room, you can see these glowing, so they do work. What else we got? Comes with strap locks as standard. I'm pretty sure they're the Schaller strap locks, and then you get a branded guitar strap from Mono, or is it still Mono? The time I got this guitar, it was a Mono gig bag and a Mono guitar strap that came with it, and both of them are branded in Aristides. It's very nice, very premium. What else have we got? 24 frets, I should say, and it's a compound radius, so it's 12 at one end, and then it flattens out to 16, I believe. It's very comfortable to play. It's not too flat. I find if the radius is too flat or hurts my hands, but there are custom options there. I know there's people that have 16 standard or 20-inch standard. There's a lot of options when you order the guitars for them. Yes, so the single humbucker. When I was in the factory, I tried Aristides' own bare knuckle, which is just the Aristides custom. Very cool sounding pickup, kind of their take on a JB59 combo, but I just wanted something a bit more aggressive, and I think I could hear the difference. So I had AB'd 2 guitars, and one of them had this humbucker. So this is the Lundgren M6, which is the signature pickup for the guys in Meshuggah. And I just loved how it sounded. It's extremely tight, very unforgiving, but very aggressive and very percussive. So it's an incredible sounding guitar pickup. Yeah, so I only wanted one. I did opt to have a push-pull on the volume knob just for a bit of versatility without adding any switches. So it basically splits the coils. You know, it just turns one of these off and gives quite a nice single coil tone. And I've used that for some cleans in past cover videos. Excuse me. And like I mentioned before about the Hipshot hardware up top, we've got a Hipshot hardtail bridge. I think it is just called the Hipshot hardtail. I can't really remember. But these are custom spaced because Aristides use their own slant for the multi-scale. Just like the pickups, they have to make their own custom base plates that they send to the pickup companies, and then pickup companies put the two together, send them back. So this bridge is a completely custom design for Aristides, just in terms of the slant, that is. It's worth mentioning the color scheme, so you can kind of see the black and gold throughout the hardware. It's all like hybrid colored. When I was designing the guitar, I just wanted to, try and tie in the aesthetics in some way, and I really like that. I'm not really a fancy person that would have gold everything, but I love the combination of the black and gold. And there's other options. You could do black and chrome, you could do chrome and gold. You can even do this like kind of crazy rainbowy burnt effect on the hardware, which looks amazing. But yeah, I went a wee bit more traditional. The jack, they've got a very high-end barrel jack. I can't remember what you call it. I think it's MEC is the brand. But yeah, I haven't had any issues with this. And then the back is super cool. So it's worth mentioning that this guitar is made out of one piece. And it gives you this insane, access. Like, to call it access is kind of funny because that sort of suggests that you still have limited access, but you don't. You can get everywhere with this sort of cutaway. And then on the raw models, they do this cool exposed plate at the back so you can see all the electrics. And for some of the builds which have, 2 humbuckers or any of the crazy custom options, it's really impressive to see how clean the wiring is. For me, there isn't really much to see because it's just such a simplistic beast, really. And you can also see the large tone block that they use with the Hipshot hardtail there, which gives it a really nice sound. Like, there's a lot of mass in that bridge. But yeah, that's about it. Just while I had mentioned about it being one piece, it's worth quickly summing up how they build these guitars. So they build an outer shell first, which is glass fiber and carbon fiber layers sort of painted in, manually by hand. And then they glue those two together, and then they injection mold their own material into the empty husk, so to speak, which they call aerium. So this is kind of their own proprietary material. And the way it was described to me is it's a mix of microscopic resins, like their own proprietary blend, basically. All like these wee, glass resin baubles. I don't know. But yeah, basically they pump this stuff into the build and then bake it, and then it becomes super solid. With the raw models, they find a way to dye that outer mold. There's preset colors basically, so I chose purple, so they would have dyed the skin essentially purple. when it went in to get baked, and then it comes out and it all gets sanded and shaped and all that sort of stuff. So that's how they build the guitar. So when I say this is one piece, it's one piece. Very impressive. But that's about it. I don't know what else to say. I just thought it'd be cool to go over this guitar because it's quite unique. And there's quite a few comments occasionally about it. So I have this in drop C, essentially permanently. Drop C or D standard, and it sounds really good. You can find some sound examples in a few of my covers. I think a good one for it would be Just Let Go by Killswitch Engage. There's some cleans in there, some leads, some riffs. But phenomenal guitar. I love it lots. I'll never get rid of it. As I say, I'm lucky enough to have another two of these guitars, completely different specs. One of them's a custom build, and then one of them I actually just bought off another Aristides Guitar user, which used to be owned by the guys in Periphery, so that's pretty cool. But I'll definitely do some more videos in these in the future. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions about this or any of the other guitars that you see featured, please just comment below and I will get back to you. But thank you very much for watching. If you don't subscribe, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to do more of this sort of stuff. It's easier for me to talk about guitars than play them, usually. But the good thing with this video is I can just upload this right away. So it's just 17 minutes of me nerding out about guitars, and hopefully you like it. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.